The Sunday school lesson for December 4th, 2022 is The Promise of Messiah's Forerunner. Lesson text, Luke chapter 1, verses 8 through 20. Welcome viewers and subscribers to my channel, The Backstory. I am Audrey, and on this channel, you will become aware of the events that take place before each Sunday school lesson. Remember, please, to subscribe, share, and comment. The standard agenda is as follows. I will share the backstory, read the lesson text, and offer a brief lesson summary. The lesson comes from the book of Luke. A little bit about Luke. He was a physician, Paul's companion, the only Gentile author. He addresses Most Excellent Theophilus. He was a synoptic gospel writer. He researched, interviewed eyewitnesses, and he wrote about AD 59 and 63. He begins his book with the birth of John the Baptist. In Luke's introduction in chapter 1, verses 1 through 2, he writes, "Many have undertaken to draw up an account of the things that have been fulfilled among us, just as they were handed down to us by those who from the first were eyewitnesses and servants of the word." The introduction continues with verses 3 through 4. With this in mind, since I myself have carefully investigated everything from the beginning, I too decided to write an orderly account for you, most excellent Theophilus, so that you may know the certainty of the things you have been taught. Birth of John the Baptist foretold begins with Luke chapter 1, verses 5 through 6, and it reads thusly. In the time of Herod, king of Judea, there was a priest named Zacharias, who belonged to the priestly division of Abijah. His wife, Elizabeth, was also a descendant of Aaron. Both of them were righteous in the sight of God, observing all the Lord's commands and decrees blamelessly. The problem is presented in Luke chapter 1, verse 7, and it reads thusly, "And they were childless, because Elizabeth was not able to conceive, and they were both very old." The story continues. The backstory, Luke chapter 1, verses 1 through 7, ends, and the Sunday school lesson, Luke chapter 1, verses 8 through 20, begins at this point. The promise of Messiah's forerunner. Lesson text, Luke chapter 1, verses 8 through 20. Time, 7 or 6 BC. Place, Jerusalem. Golden text. Thy wife Elizabeth shall bear thee a son, and thou shalt call his name John, and thou shalt have joy and gladness, and many shall rejoice at his birth. Luke chapter 1, verses 13 through 14. Verses 8 through 9. And it came to pass that while he executed the priest's office before God in the order of his course, according to the custom of the priest's office, his lot was to burn incense when he went into the temple of the Lord. Verse 10, and the whole multitude of the people were praying without at the time of incense. Verse 11, and there appeared unto him an angel of the Lord standing on the right side of the altar of incense. Verse 12, and when Zacharias saw him, he was troubled, and fear fell upon him. Verse 13, but the angel said unto him, Fear not, Zacharias, for thy prayer is heard, and thy wife Elizabeth shall bear thee a son, and thou shalt call his name John. Verse 14, and thou shalt have joy and gladness, and many shall rejoice at his birth. Verse 15, for he shall be great in the sight of the Lord, and shall drink neither wine nor strong drink, and he shall be filled with the Holy Ghost, even from his mother's womb. Verse 16, and many of the children of Israel shall he turn to the Lord their God. Verse 17, and he shall go before him in the spirit and power of Elias, to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the just, to make ready a people prepared for the Lord. Verse 18, and Zacharias said unto the angel, whereby shall I know this? For I am an old man, and my wife well stricken in years. Verse 19, and the angel answering him said unto him, I am Gabriel, that stand in the presence of God, and am sent to speak unto thee, and to shew thee these glad tidings. Verse 20, and behold, thou shalt be dumb, and not able to speak, until the day that these things shall be performed, because thou believest not my words, which shall be fulfilled in their season. A brief summary. Zacharias was a priest descended from Abijah, one of the grandsons of Aaron. Priests took turns serving in the temple. The opportunity to burn incense at the altar was determined by lot and ordinarily was allowed once in a priest's lifetime. Being childless was often viewed as a judgment of God, according to Genesis chapter 20, verse 18. Yet, Zacharias and his wife Elizabeth were righteous in the sight of God. A remarkable appearance by the angel Gabriel explained this seeming injustice. Truly, the child's birth would bring joy and delight to his parents, but God had much greater plans in mind. Their son would be a prophet in the spirit and power of Elijah. Zacharias questioned this angelic pronouncement and was then not able to speak until after the birth of his son. Thank you so much for watching. Join me soon for the next backstory. Stay safe.